when the beat hit, it's queenish. Friday nights be gleaming. We stay hype with guys like no matter what, cause we queenin'. Hey, we queenin'. We queenin'. When them other chicks be scheming, we stay hype cause we queenin'.
With the queens and the feeling, throw them hands up. Got a crown on my head, no we can be touched.
Good.
What up?
Kansas City. What's good, Kansas City? In my Nikki voice. It's your hype home girl, #swag Geezy.
And DJ Missy E.
And this is the Night Hype Show, where, you know, the podcast, we're positive.
Purposeful.
Yes, and prioritized. And, you know, if you listen, you already know what that's about, but we all about us for us, basically.
Yes.
And, you know, I guess sometimes people say we all about society, pop cultural. I'm all about that.
we come with it all.
You know what I'm saying?
A plethora.
And the thing about
will.
it is today we are talking about one of my absolute favorite subjects. I think I've always been intrigued by it, but as I got older and really saw how much it affects us, I became even more intrigued.
Honestly, it has really affected a lot of people. Millions of people.
Yes.
Millions of people. And some don't know about their own issues, you know?
I can honestly say that was me. So we're talking about mental health, and it's May, so it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
Last year was the first year that I celebrated mental health awareness.
Really?
It is. Because, we got to be really real. We got to be really transparent about this. Ask me why.
Why?
Mental health is very stigmatized. Mental health is like having AIDS, like having the coronavirus.
Yeah.
When you think about mental health, people think immediately schizophrenia, bipolar, just these, maybe even autism or disability, but mental health is so much more. And really in this society, if you haven't been affected by mental health, I kind of worry about your mind state because how unaware or conscious of you of everything that's happening around us and in this day and age, from losing people every week to gun violence, we're coming out of a pandemic. We coming out of that, 2020 was hard. We thought 2021 was going to be better, and I'm going to tell you it ain't no better. So for me, I made it through the pandemic, come up on the first of the year. I have a car accident. After the car accident, the Super Bowls, was lost. The Chiefs lost that. Yeah. In the same weekend, right? So we had the car accident. Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, devastated. Then find out I'm pregnant. So excited. Thinking, nervous at first. I was mentally going through something through that. So it was just kind of crazy because it was kind of like, I had to change my perspective to receive the fact that I was pregnant at 36. But then I had to turn around and change the fact that I had lost a child right in the same sense because March 8th, I have a miscarriage. And in it, so that's one thing. And that, in itself, people were like, oh, that's enough. Oh my God. That's kind of how my job felt. But then turn around and 10 days later after the miscarriage, I lose my 15-year-old niece to gun violence in Kansas City, Missouri. Yes. And so, if my mental health didn't suffer during that course of life, I would wonder, why am I so disconnected? What, what I mean?
Yeah. If you are, then that's another mental illness. There's just a lot of things.
That part, what I'm saying, on the flip side. So in a way, it does really affect everybody. And so I just say all that to say, you don't never know what anyone is ever just going through, behind closed doors, what they're pushing for. So as you sit back and you try to think, how can I deal with something that's stigmatized, that people might judge you for? am I supposed to get help for it? But what has helped me is think about if you had lung cancer. Your lung is deteriorating. You can't breathe. You start having the respiratory symptoms first. And so after that, then next thing you know, you might start coughing up blood or something like that. And so as these symptoms start occurring, you're starting to think, oh, I need to go seek medical treatment. But on the flip side, when it comes to mental health, when people mental starts to deteriorate, they start having symptoms like I can't focus, I'm losing interest in things that I used to enjoy. I don't want to be around any people. They start isolating themselves. The first thing they don't think is, let me go to the doctor to see if my mind is okay. So that's when I say awareness. That's what I mean. We want people to be aware that it's normal in life. Whether it's situational, whether it's because you're an empath, whether because you're a person that can pick up vibes or energy, or whether it's because you have went through some really damn devastating, messed up stuff in life, PTSD, it is important to be aware of our mental health. And us as a culture, as a Black people, we have struggled with mental health for decades.
All of them.
All of those. And there's, no one talks to a therapist. We sweep things under the rug. We don't address I think this is the first generation of Black people that have came forward and said, you know what, I have something going on with me mentally. I want to heal. It's going to start with maybe psychiatry, therapy, medicine, working out, changing my thought processes. But it's going to start somewhere. And most of the time it starts with thoughts, your mental.
It is so important that you guys take care of yourselves. 2020 affected everybody. It did in every single way. Financially, physically, mentally, spiritually.
Man, I mean, we faced a lot. Yes. Racism was definitely called to the forefront. It was a lot at one time. And I mean, let's be honest, y'all. If you want to keep it real, RIP is trending a lot more than I Love You or The Hypeness or just everything that you've seen this day. So even that, and for me to bring awareness to that is, I don't know who knows the people that walk around and take guns to parties. Like Mary Q said, y'all taking them to parties. Y'all taking them to the barbecues. Y'all taking them to the park. Y'all taking, if it's street stuff, it's street stuff, and let that be that.
That's
if you can take a beating with your hands, at least you can take a beating with your hands and you live to fight another day. You can live to fight that person another day if you want to. And I know we as a community are going to have to show up within our homes, our friends, our cousins, the homies in the streets. We're going to have to get back because we're losing good men, good fathers, husbands, sisters, mothers,
brothers, cousins,
children, y'all.
Aunties.
My elders, it's more of them alive than the ones underneath us. And so that affects it. What's going on through your mind mentally where you feel like taking a life is the only answer to anything that you're going through? That's mental health awareness. And you need to make the people around you who are practicing this type of defense mechanism or coping, you need to talk to them and really get to the bottom of why are you pushing why are you living from such a hateful place, a dark place in your mind?
That's something that needs to be discussed with the professional. If you need to seek help, seek help. If you feel that you need to do that, seek help. There are many of options or places that you can go to.
So also, and when I'm giving y'all ideas, like I said, it's not because it's not something that I haven't tried myself if I haven't researched it, because like I said, me myself, I've dealt with mental health issues. And even for a long time, I probably really did hold on to the notion like, oh, I claim mental health as my thing. It's me. It's something that I'll suffer with. But what I've learned as I've learned to heal and treat when I'm having maybe a down moment is that the same way you can heal from cancer, the same way you can heal from heart disease, diabetes, you can also be healed from depression. There's also treatments for anxiety. You can catch bipolar, schizophrenia, maybe with some type of form of medication or before it gets too out of hand. But there are treatments available for any form of mental health that anyone might be suffering from. And it doesn't always have to be medication. It might just be talk therapy. It might just be yoga. You just never know. It might be meditation. So we just want to give you all some practical ways that you're able to deal with maybe some stresses.
So back in 2020, I was dealing with a lot of depression, even longer than I ever have done before. Doing a lot of stress and down and out. I was losing weight. Sometimes hair was coming out. I looked into it later on and found out by going to my doctor that not only was I depressed, that I also have ADHD. So it has been a mind-blowing journey finding out about this situation. There's so many symptoms that I have with ADHD that I always thought that it was just me all these years. And then I realized that there's actually a disorder for it. Mental health awareness is very important for you to figure out what's going on with you. Sometimes there's people, you might think that you're good, you're okay, keep pushing, but sometimes you need to take a break and identify. And that was when I had to take my moment to do so. I'm 37 years old. I knew that I had ADHD a long time ago. Things would have been so different. But, I can't beat myself up about it. I survived. I made it. I got a lot of things accomplished. I have a lot of things still going. I have a beautiful family. I have a good job. Podcasting, I DJ,
Yes, girl, got a whole business. Been in 10 years, a whole decade. Yes. And so that's another way of coping is changing your perspective, man. And that's a good way to look at it.
Yes. And that's something else I had to learn about. It's a journey, but I'm learning about how to deal with it.
What is the number one thing, like when you sit back and you come to terms where you said, if you would have knew you had maybe this situation or issue a few years ago or, some time ago, how it would have been changed?
I feel like I would have been able to prioritize a lot better and be more attentive to what needs to be my attention right away, more often. I'm not saying that I'll be perfect, but more often, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would be able to get to work on time. I would be able to not lose things so often. My memory is so short. And if you have one disorder and another disorder, sometimes they work hand in hand. That depression just fueled up the ADHD, and I had even more issues for a period of time with both of them, more in an amplified level,
Yeah.
And it's been a real journey.
And I'm sure like a form of an eye-opener could feel like that when, you kind of first talked to me about it. Because, y'all already know I've been very vocal about the fact that there has been times that I've been dealing with mental health. And I feel like it's because there was no one like speaking up against it. I felt like I was wrong, and sometimes, and then finally, like, you know, it just came out like, if you won't talk about it, then what makes you think somebody else will, you know? And so just to start seeing that it is coming to the forefront of society, we are giving those who may struggle with mental health a little bit more compassion, consideration, and openness. I feel like, you know, now's the time that we really can all stand together, come forward, make some awareness about it, but also, you know, like they say, do the work, because the like they say, you know, the last thing about heart disease is cardiac arrest. The last part of mental health is suicide. So if you're ever gotten to the point where you're just down and out with life, where suicide is the only option, which I've been many times before, which was a sure sign for me that I've struggled with mental health even when I didn't know I was. But to even know that that was a choice, that's just a form of knowing that I'm struggling mentally. Because someone who is in the right mind frame, they would know that a permanent decision is not the answer to temporary circumstances.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Man. Oh, that was good.
Yeah. So before we leave you, I have 10 ways that you can face your fears or anxiety. I've been practicing these myself also, just to kind of, you know, after where I'm at right now, and God knows where we're going in the future. I doubt not a thing anymore. The rapture could come tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised. I would just be praying, Lord, I'm ready. So 10 ways to face your fears, your anxieties. Number 1, and I got this off of YouTube. I'll make sure to leave that. I want to say it's the Think channel. And so I like to listen to things while I'm at work. Choose something that matters now, meaning what's your why? Well, why should I keep doing this? Why should I, you know, stay alive, stay strong, find my peace? Why? Number 2, practice willingness. Open yourself up to allowing yourself to feel your anxiety. Open yourself up to the mind frame of, like she used the example, if you're scared of dogs. Open yourself up to the mind frame of just petting a dog, or allowing yourself to picture yourself being with a dog. Build emotional muscles, meaning, you know, take memory for the things that you've been through and you've survived. And maybe if you're going through something of that nature, or just a tough time, you can lean on that emotional muscle to get you through. You know, that saying, you know, tied to a bed, if he did it before, he'll do it again. That's how your mind frame can build emotional muscles. Number 4, let go of perfectionism and comparison. This is my number 1 trigger for my anxiety. It is just trying to be perfect, not make mistakes, not getting talked about, not talking about nobody, not being judged, not judging nobody, not comparing if they got a better car, if my job is this, if I'm fulfilled, just letting it all go. I am India. I am me. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. And there's only one of me. No need to compare my journey life to anybody else's. Number 5, let go of the belief that I can't do this. Even the word impossible says I'm possible. I know that's cliche, but it's very true. So, you know, like they always say, take can't out of your vocabulary. Can't means, do you have the ability to? We always have the ability to do something, most likely, you know, unless you're paralyzed or something of that nature, or sick. But if you can put your mind to it, most of the time we can do it. Also, number 6, change how you see situations. So if you are really into this and you want to know what I really mean, Google cognitive distortions. So this is just changing your perspective about situations. Cognitive distortions just puts words to how we view situations, and it might really like foreshadow on. We might just like going back to work for me after the break I had to take for, you know, to recover. I just foreshadowed that it would just be a horrible experience going back to work. And then after, you know, you asked me like, what can we do to calm your anxiety about that? And I thought about it. I did those things, and now I'm back to work and everything's just fine. And I have a supportive environment, and I'm actually happy to be there. You know, it brings me joy to be able to be around a work environment where people actually care about me as a person and not just a number in production. So change how you see things. Number 7, do one small step every day. One small thing. If it's something that you're working up to big, you know, maybe you got a big speech, write one line a day or an essay or something, just whatever is causing you anxiety, break it down into small things so you can eat up that big amount little by little. Number 8, stay with your fears until you calm down. If you start saying, you know, I'm in fear, and you're trying to run away from it, your body starts going in overdrive to fight that anxiety, but it actually causes more anxiety because it sends you into what we call the fight or flight response. So if you can sit with it, you can breathe with it, ask yourself questions, you know, do, you know, 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can hear, just little things to kind of take your mind out of the moment, then, you know, you'll notice that you'll calm down and you'll have less anxiety about certain situations and your triggers won't be as strong. Number 9, which should have probably been number 1, is get support. You cannot face mental health issues alone in isolation. I don't care if that support is your friend, pastor, counselor, therapist, social worker, best friend at work, somebody. Get support. You know, if you don't feel comfortable, you know, talking to someone, see a professional. If you don't feel comfortable seeing a professional, take it to somebody you personally know. But I say professionalism is always best because it removes emotions and you start getting practical, logical ways to assist you in, you know, healing and getting through your fears and anxiety. And number 10, which was my motto for this year, which is crazy, is be compassionate with yourself. So have some self-compassion. Anxiety is caused by caring too much. You care too much about the issue, the situation. Understand, you know, especially if you're a believer, I know that I am, that we have somebody to cast our cares on. If you don't believe in God, I know you might believe in the Most High, but just find those ways to relinquish over the cares that, especially the ones you can't do nothing about. It's just sometimes, and some stuff, like I cannot do nothing about the fact that this little baby I wanted is gone. I sure can't bring my niece back. So as much as I want to care and let it consume my life, I won't let it make me bitter. I'll let it make me better. I'll have joy. I'll love those around me very hard. And I'll live the life that I know, you know, my loved ones and that God would have me to live. That if, you know, I walked out the door tomorrow and God forbid something happened, I can hear well done, you know. I'm stacking treasures in heaven, but also just because I know one day when I leave, I just want everyone had felt better from being in my presence, my aura, my life. That's just, that's the legacy, you know. That's the ultimate goal. That's success. That's being rich for me.
I love it.
Thank you, friend. Thank you so much.
We only have one life.
Okay.
And then after that,
listen, I'm ready, and I don't know if I want to do it again. If it's anything like this, the future games, I'm cool. I take heaven for eternity, Alex. So, anyways, you can find more about us on the Night Hype Show, NITEHYPESHOW, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm #swag.
And I'm DJ Missy.
And we are happy to serve you.
Have a good night.
Thank y'all for listening in. We bid you adieu.
Bye.